imagine going from being a lottery winner to having another set of numbers, on your daily attire.
Back on a closer look across the Village Media Network and wherever you get your favorite podcasts with Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief. Derek Turner at the helm tonight. As always, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Big thanks to the over 1,000 subscribers through closerlookpodcast.ca who each night get an email straight into their inbox with our latest episode.
Yeah, it's actually big news. We crossed the big milestone, 1,000 subscribers. We launched the show 3 months ago. September
the 8th.
Was the official launch. We launched with this email address or this email newsletter that you can subscribe to. And there were some people around here who thought it would take a long time to get to 1,000.
The boss, for one. He gave us a year to get there, for the record.
So we got there
3 months.
75% faster than he's at the right math.
Yeah, well, it sounds good.
I'm sure he will get a big pat on the back for that.
All right. Yeah. Do you think?
Yeah, it's great.
Do you think?
You know what? My favorite part of the email is the Saturday rewind.
I love that.
Yeah. So you get the email every night. It says, here's our episode. I'm really proud of the show. I think we talk about a lot of interesting things. It could range from the super important hard news to some things like whether you should have a pet raccoon.
Well, and this week's a great example, right?
It's a great example, right? So we have all that mix in there. And I think it shows when you see them all kind of grouped together. So people get their email every night at 8 o'clock, I think it comes.
Yes, 8 o'clock.
The email comes. The it comes out at 7 o'clock across the network, and the email comes out at 8. But on Saturday, you get this email that says, hey, if you missed any of the episodes, here are the 5.
Yeah.
And I love that because every time I look at it, I think, that was a good mix of shows that we had.
And I don't know about you, but I because it all kind of melds together, through our week, I sometimes forget, and it's like, oh, yeah, we did that, and we did that.
Yeah.
It's a nice reminder.
And what I find interesting, too, is that now when you see a story, it's often related to something you've already talked about on the show. Right. It could be tariffs, or it could be the lottery, or it could be all kinds of, it could be gambling in sports, for example. Now there's a group of senators that have gone and asked the prime minister, hey, we need to ban gambling ads during sports, which is an issue we talked about on the program. There's actually going to be a snippet run this weekend about that. So, I think of the bread price fixing scandal. We did a great interview. That's just so everybody knows, too, the deadline's next Friday to register bread settlement. Is it breadsettlement.ca?
I believe so. That's to get like up to $50 or up to $75.
This is the price fixing scandal, the big bread makers and the grocers. And we had the lead class action lawyer on talking about it, and it was like a really good half an hour conversation about what happened here. And I don't want to say anything, but he said it was the best interview he did about the topic anywhere he did it. So I know that's all you, but it's still something
You're
something to be proud of. Still something to be proud of.
I love working with you, man.
I think we do. I think we put together an interesting show that's relevant to Ontarians across the province, whether you're reading this in Orillia or Sudbury or Guelph or the Niagara region. I think it has that nice mix of topics.
Yeah.
And tonight I think is no exception.
You know what? It's a great job. I feel like I've won the lottery working with you two.
There you go. That's called a segue.
That's what they call a segue, kids. Take note.
So this was a great story. A couple weeks ago, the OPP arrested a gentleman, 70-year-old man from Toronto, who they allege he claimed $1 million Lotto Max prize, and they allege that there was actually 2 other members of his group that were playing the lottery. And he decided to go and show up at OLG, take a picture with the big check, and hope that nobody noticed. And, of course, the 2 people who were in his group noticed. I haven't done the math. That means they would each have gotten $333,000, right?
Correct.
1/3 of $1 million. Mm-hmm.
Sharp
I'm here for the
attack.
math. I'm here for the math. Yeah. So he's been charged, and it to me, as I said to you guys yesterday, it's interesting because it raises the question of, we know groups all over the place play live,
for sure.
At your work, I think they play here.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, what kind of records should you be keeping? Should there be like a contract that says, hey, there's 17 people, here's who they are?
Yeah.
Is it enough to just have some emails exchanged? Say, hey, look, there's an email discussion about this. Some people just do it by faith and say, we're all friends here. We know it's just neighbors.
We trust each other.
Bunch of neighbors, right? Yeah. So we're going to have a chat with that about an expert, an investment management expert who has also dealt with a lot of lottery winners.
Right, yeah.
So we're going to have a conversation about that and just in general about what you should think about if you actually are the lucky person holding that ticket.
Here's a headline that got a lot of people talking. The OPP arresting a Toronto man and charged him with fraud after he allegedly claimed a $1 million Lotto Max jackpot for himself, despite being part of a group that won the prize. It's a nightmare scenario for the many thousands of people who play their numbers in a group, and a timely reminder to keep good records. Joining us tonight to share his thoughts on the case and what you should do if you're actually lucky enough to win a life-changing jackpot is Stephan Desbiens, a portfolio manager at Exponent Investment Management. Stephan, welcome to the show. Great to see you.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with the 70-year-old winner who apparently went rogue trying to claim the prize on his own. What went through your mind when you first heard about this case?
What still runs through my mind is I'm not surprised that he got caught.
How come?
Frankly, first of all, you got to think of the two others that were part of his group that would have certainly called OLG directly. Mm-hmm. And secondly, the validation process, from my experience, as I have a few lottery winners as clients, is it's a very serious and thorough process.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
I've heard of another case in Toronto again, actually, Toronto area again. They're all different, I suppose, but it was one of those where shares were not divided properly. Bad intention or ill will was behind it, and it didn't work out for the perpetrator, we'll say. For
sure. It's just allegations at this point, but if it's true, it's pretty gutsy, right? Because you actually have to show up and get the check and take a picture, and it's going to be out there, your name. It's pretty gutsy.
That's one way to describe it for sure.
Stephan, what's the most common mistake that group players make before the ticket is even bought?
Well, there's two parts to that. Is one would be as a participant in a group, and the other one would be the responsible party for the group. And I think it's really important to not take lightly. You buy lottery tickets. You don't always assume you're going to win, but why do you buy them if you don't think that there's a chance? So the person who would be responsible for buying the tickets on a regular basis, should really keep good records. And the people that are, part of the group, it's a little bit less onerous, but I think, they would want to know what's going on and keep, apprised of what's happening. I'll share with you a quick story about someone that just recently, this is a couple weeks ago here in the Ottawa region, there's a really popular lottery that is part of a local radio station. It's called Dame de Coeur, and this lady won the prize. As it turns out, her sister was responsible for administering the group, buying the tickets on a weekly basis, because this is one where it ends, once people win the big jackpot, and it's up to $7 million.
Wow.
And this lady had to go away to Florida for just recreational for personal reasons on holidays, and you can't buy those tickets while you're out of country and out of province, in fact. So she asked her sister to buy the tickets for them, and the sister said, well, that's fine. They were 5 as part of the original group that her sister administered. Her sister wanted to participate in the group, so her sister said, of course, if you buy the tickets for us, you can make the group from 5 to 6, and they won.
Oh no! And the others,
it was the first time. Yeah, I'd look at that and say, well, maybe if she hadn't have bought the tickets, they wouldn't have won. So I'd be happy to be part of the group of 5.
Yeah.
It turned out to be 6.
Yeah, fascinating. When you say good record keeping, is it enough to have an email chain or the administrator saying, here's who's in our group? What's good record keeping?
I think the only thing that would be bad record keeping would be to just go on good faith and not ask of any, not have anything. Because to answer your question, yes, emails would be good. Having when you do an e-transfer for your tickets, for your share of your purchases, to make a notation in the e-transfer record, how you can put a message in there to say this is for this, and that would be helpful, because imagine that the investigators, that in this case OLG, have to decipher through all this stuff, and sometimes even it comes down to intent.
That's a great point.
Stephan, I know you're not a lawyer, but from a legal perspective, you'll be able to shed more light on this than certainly either one of us. Who legally owns the ticket in most cases? Is it the person holding it? Is it the group as a whole? How does that work from a legal angle?
That's a really good question. I'd love to. I don't want to steer anyone wrong on this one particularly.
All right, not a problem. Then let's move on to your dealings with lottery winners. When one calls you for the first time, what's your actual role in that very moment?
I would describe it as almost being a psychologist. I've had it happen several times. I've had the good fortune, and I've had referrals from people, friends, family, so on and so forth. That and it's funny because sometimes a windfall comes from lotteries. The odds are it's not happening very often, but we often have a similar call from people who have just sold a business or inherited a lot of money.
Right.
It's a windfall thing. So in those cases, speaking specifically about lottery winners, it's a very emotional conversation. It starts out emotional and it gets emotional throughout. One of the experiences that I had with someone who won 14 million at 649, I met them in my office, and they spent 6 hours with me on a Sunday. That was their request to meet. They wanted to meet as soon as possible. And I would say 4 of those hours, they were in tears most of the time.
Is it because they just can't, they're so overwhelmed they can't believe what's happened? Is that what brings on the tears and the emotion?
Yeah, you buy the ticket, you don't really think of what may happen. You win, that money, whatever the prize may be. Usually, we're talking about a significant amount of money. And that's a relative amount, right? A $500,000 winner that doesn't have anything could be, that's highly emotional, just the same as someone who might win $15 million. But in this case, it was partly because of the moment, the realization of how things were going to change, relationships were going to change around them. But it was also a realization very quickly that they had already made a few mistakes in their handling of their winnings.
Can you share a couple of those mistakes?
Most of them have to do with actually being public about your winnings, and oftentimes from my experience I can speak of, it has to do with family. Mm-hmm. So in a particular case, I can share an example where they were to drive down to Toronto. They were from the Ottawa area where I'm from. They were driving down to Toronto on the Monday morning to go to the OLG office, and on the way there, a promise for a certain amount was made to one of the sons. And of course, that turned out to be disproportionately too much if they had time to think about other siblings, extended family, things that they might want to accomplish. Suddenly they found themselves in a situation where, yes, they had won, but they made a mistake. They realized it. And, I can go one further than that. The ask was, so the money was given that day once the prize was available in the client's bank account. The money went out to the son. And before I had a chance to meet with them, the ask was to give it back. And to my knowledge, they have not spoken since.
Oh, wow.
See, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's just one example. It, in my business, people talk about their family, as close as they might be, as different. This won't happen to me. This won't, this wouldn't change anything. But I've been in this business long enough to know that sadly, oftentimes these things, not just lottery wins, just, money just does change the family, and does often change the family dynamic.
So is your biggest piece of advice at the beginning to say, just stop, let's get this money in the bank and have some thoughtful conversations about this?
Absolutely. I describe it as stop, think, and breathe. Breathe. Breathing is an important aspect of just stopping the process. The emotions run high. I don't think anyone could control, how they would emotionally deal with $70 million, like, an upcoming Lotto Max number would be. I think you're stuck in that emotional train for a long time. But just the ability to stop yourself and think, if you could, you would stop yourself from maybe even sharing that news with anyone but a close family member. If it was, if your wife wins, then maybe, hopefully she'd just share it with you, and you might even keep it from the kids for a little while, until you can sort of make heads or tails of this. And then when it comes to, what to do with the money, there should be no pressure to do anything. This is life-changing money. You could live off of just a bank account that pays no interest. So nobody else should have a say in this and have, put pressure on you to do anything.
I know I don't have to worry about Scott, because if he won, we'd never see him again. He wouldn't give anybody a dime. If you talk about that $70 million prize.
That's not true.
We'd be like, where is that guy?
I would absolutely give you a dime.
$20 maybe you would give it. So it's interesting. So in the end, do you have cases where people ultimately hit the right path and they feel good about what they've done, where they're able to maybe give some money they want to give? And I guess, do they ever get back to a sense of normalcy, I guess is what I'm asking.
They do, fortunately, and I think most do. Let's be real, a large sum of money mostly has favorable impacts. We can debunk some of the myths about, 2/3 of lottery winners end up bankrupt within 3 years. There's all sorts of things like that are out there. Most of that is not true. It's a good outcome. The ones that I've had good fortune to work with, I would say within a year to maximum 2 years, they can carry on with their lives. They've, hopefully made some of the, taken some of the steps that need to be made, to protect themselves, to, protect their family dynamic, and to be able to finally enjoy it. The emotions run high for a long, long time, though.
Stephan, people say money can't buy happiness. At the end of the day, does winning the lottery make life easier or just more complicated?
Both. I mean, someone who's not used to dealing with in financial matters, you could end up, having, a pretty complex financial setup that would require some maintenance, your involvement. You could keep it simple, and that's usually my advice. But definitely, it is something to manage and to be mindful of, not just for yourself, but again for your family. On the flip side, it's a wonderful thing. It allows people to do, obviously, themselves something that they might not have had a chance to do otherwise, or to do it awfully earlier than they thought, and also to help people around them, to help family members, to help their community. There's lots of really, really good things that I've seen, things that you might not even think of, that people come up with in their charitable moment.
It's a great point. We're sitting here talking about those rare few that actually win the big prize. And the reality is you're an investment manager. And it always kind of makes me sad, because you hear a lot of people say that my retirement planning is that I'm going to win the lottery. That's what they think. In the real world, what's your best piece of financial advice for a person who's maybe in their 30s today and wants to be able to retire comfortably?
I think it's something that I would always say is to set up the savings habit. I've been fortunate, to have been in this business long enough to now be dealing with second and third generations. And when I get a chance to deal with the kids, 20s, 30s, when they've actually got, discretionary income to start saving, is to create that savings habit. And to speak to everyone, I would say, if it's $50 a month or week or per paycheck, start that habit of missing, a piece of your paycheck being set aside for you. And that number, typically, if it's done well, and if it's a, habit forming, it grows as your capacity grows, and you really can put yourself in a good position, just by developing that habit.
That's a great piece of advice. I want to take, as we finish our conversation, I'd like to take it back to where we started, that case where of the person who allegedly claimed the prize that others won. If you got a call from one of those other winners who says, hey, this is the guy, I was part of that group, that's part of my money, as their financial advisor, what would be your advice to them in the meantime as they wait for this police case to wrap up?
Well, fortunately, I don't think that they would have to, devote any much of their own resources to uncovering the truth about this. from what I know of this particular case, it has. It's pretty compelling. It was obviously pretty compelling to the investigators to explore this. So I would tell my client, or I would tell anyone to stay on OLG, to give OLG any evidence that they can for them to do their work, and trust that they would, because I know they would. They're I know the validation process. I've heard it from clients. It's very thorough, much more thorough than people imagine.
Yes, yeah, we've heard that as well. Last piece of advice, then, same thing. If someone's thinking of doing the same thing that this person's accused of doing, that they're the manager of this group, and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to claim it by myself, what would you tell them?
Well, speaking about, this particular case, these are allegations, so I wouldn't get into anything specific there. That said, it's just that simple that, if you're a believer in good karma, I think it would be, it would not be good karma to do anything, that's not right. If you keep good records, you should be able to resolve any disputes. But you know what? If you were thinking about doing it and getting away with it, it's not likely that you could get away with it. And so, in the case, again, these are allegations. Imagine going from being a lottery winner to having another set of numbers, on your daily attire.
That's a great way to put it. That's the best. I think we should finish with that.
That's a great note to end on. Before we let you go, Stephan, anything that we didn't touch on tonight that you'd like to mention?
No, I think what it's fun to buy lottery tickets. Don't make it disproportionate to what you can lose. It does happen every week almost. There's lottery winners across the country. But keep it healthy and enjoy it if you're fortunate enough to have that experience.
Very good advice there. Stephan Desbiens, portfolio manager at Exponent Investment Management, coming to us from the nation's capital tonight. Stephan, great chat. Good to see you. We appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
I love his line about the numbers, right?
It was a great kicker.
He's not wrong.
No, I wasn't wrong either. I wasn't lying. I think if you won the lottery, you'd be gonzo. No one would ever
God,
see you
in
again.
a heartbeat.
You wouldn't talk to any of us again.
Well,
you'd lock the door.
You'd hear me say goodbye really loudly.
Yeah,
and very
excited.
excited.
Would it be kind or would it be like?
Oh no. Look, I love it here. We of course it's a great spot, but you hand me a big bag of cash. See ya.
What would you do with it?
Well, it's funny that you would mention that, because we've often talked that if we won like a huge amount of money,
you talk about this a lot.
Well,
you're one of those. You're one of those wackos and just think we're going to win. Today's our day.
I'm one of those people that think I actually have a chance. I mean, I guess I do have a chance, but if it was ever a sizable, yeah, thank you, a sizable amount of money, we always thought that we would launch a foundation.
Oh,
it's a true story.
Sorry. Yes. What would it be called? The Don't Phone Me Foundation.
I didn't get that far in my dreams.
Yeah. All right, so you started a foundation.
Yeah, and just help people.
Well, to do what? Like, what would you do?
Education, hunger. If you have $50 million, imagine the stuff you can do with that.
Remember
there
was that couple in the East Coast, I think, where they won, and they spent a year before they told anybody, figuring out where they were going to give all the money to. So when they won, they kept a little bit from them. They were like late 70s, I think. They made sure all their kids got some money, the grandkids. They kept a little bit for themselves. And then they gave away millions of dollars.
Because you don't need that kind of money.
Yeah, I just thought to myself, if everybody with a huge amount of money sort of got to the end of their life and thought like that. Like, yes, you want your kids and grandkids. If you were lucky to have that kind of money, you want to pass that on to them too. But how much do you need? How much do they need?
That's the thing. So you win $50 million. What do you keep? 5, 10?
Yeah.
So you've got.
I hope you win so that we can play that clip. Okay, Scott, you said you're only going to keep 5.
Look, Derek, archive it. I'll tell you. I'm telling you. Nobody needs that kind of money.
I'd probably keep 49.
Derek,
it's always that.
No,
one guy.
I don't play the lottery. I'm not.
I know you mentioned that. That surprises me.
I don't play the lottery. Why?
I don't know.
Do you think I'm a dreamer? Do you think do you think I live in Fantasyland?
I just thought that everybody buys, a lottery ticket or a chance to win this or that or the other thing.
No, I don't. I've had enough good luck in my life, Scott. I don't need any more.
Well, really. We get to work with each other.
I get to sit with you every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Jackpot, baby. Jackpot.
Oh, man.
That's enough fun. for one episode.
Yes, that's enough winning.
That's enough winning. We'll do more winning the next time we're back in here tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Derek Turner, producer of this evening's program, as always. Closer Look Podcast.ca is where you'll find us online, and send us a note. Closer Look at villagemedia.ca. We'd love to hear from you. For Michael Friscolanti, our editor-in-chief here at Village Media, I'm Scott Sexsmith. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your night. See you tomorrow.
Frisco and Scott's Wardrobe provided in part by Moores, Sault Ste. Marie.